Yo, welcome to another untimely review. This time we're talking about a sequel to a video that I did about the Fantastic Four movie from 2005, which if you're interested you can see here. Don't worry though, this video is going to be easy to watch and enjoy if you still haven't seen it, but I will reference different things to characters or other things if I think it's important. Alright, on to the story. So, major spoilers for Chris Evans' second attempt at playing a superhero. We open on insert generic planet name here, as it looks like it's starting to turn into some smoker lungs that they show on those smoking stops here commercials. And after all the planet's life seems to have been drained away, we see a little beam of energy fly away, which takes us to our movie logo. Moving on from that lifeless planet, we fly past the moon, same vibe so it makes sense, and we see that little energy beam fly towards Earth. It flies through Japan, which this movie is so nice to tell us, and we see some Japanese fishermen react, but we don't know what they're saying because they didn't decide to put any subtitles. Then we see the beam travel through Giza, Egypt. This time they didn't really need to tell us that since the pyramids are right there, but hey, I appreciate the help. The last place the beam travels to is LA, and it knocks the power out as it travels. And even though we just saw that happen, we get some exposition from this news lady about it, and we find out that Reed Richards and Susan Storm are getting married. With that, we see that the Fantastic Four have become celebrities as they're hounded at the airport, and as a souvenir for some kids, Ben Grimm, or The Thing, gives some kids some rock eczema. This movie might already be better than the first. We get some more of that Chris Evans charm, and their commercial flight takes off. There's another news broadcast about the things we've seen twice already, and we see the remodeled Baxter building. For some reason, now Reed can move his rubber fingers super quickly, and it is disturbing. We see that Johnny is trying to get Reed to have a bachelor party, and at first he doesn't want one, but says, alright, we can have one, but
no exotic dancers.
Considering that this movie is rated PG, I'm sure there were several non-adults who learned what that meant at a time they probably shouldn't have. We switch to see that the beam of light is still traveling the world, and we pick up in Latveria, where we see that Victor Von Doom is back, baby! Then we go back to see the bachelor party in full swing, which definitely meant that Johnny was gonna throw it anyway. Some stuff happens that doesn't matter. The Thing makes my new favorite dancing video. And we see some military guys going up to the Double F's place.
Hey, I thought I told you to stop trying to be cool with the names.
I do what I want. Anyway, when we get back to the bachelor party, Reed is explaining to the women around him how the Big Bang happened, and that somehow transitions to him dancing, doing some stretching white people dances, and getting caught being a little too handsy by his fiancée and those military guys from earlier. We find out that the military guys are looking for Reed because they need his help in figuring out what that beam of light is that's been traveling around the world. He declines because he's getting married on Saturday, which is nice, but seems to be really short-sighted. But hey, I'm not getting married anytime soon, so maybe I'm off in that. After the military guys leave, we go back to Latveria to see Doom taking off his mask, and then we just cut right back to the Baxter building where we see that Reed is actually building the server for the military and just lied to save face. Maybe men are all the same. If more than 15 people watch this video, I'm sure I'm gonna get some hate comments for that, but I really could not care less. The next day, it's the wedding day, and we get a Stan Lee cameo where he tries to get into the wedding, but the guy doesn't believe that he's actually Stan Lee. Come to think of it, as far as I know, this is the only cameo where Stan Lee technically just plays himself. Then we see that the beautiful Chocolate Queen from the last movie is still with Ben, and she gives a pep talk to Sue, who's having some wedding jitters. Then we see Reed going through the same feelings, we get a sex joke, again in a PG movie, and after all that we see Doom in the same chair that Wade from Kim Possible had as he's monitoring the beam of light. We cut back to the wedding ceremony, but it's interrupted because of the beam of light coming through New York. Luckily, nobody dies when this helicopter just plows through the ceremony. Johnny chases after the beam, and then we see that this whole time, it's the Silver Surfer. Whoa! Almost like the movie was named after him. Johnny chases him to DC and gets choked out by him, which is honestly pretty cool, and then takes him into the upper atmosphere and just drops him back to Earth. We then see the Silver Surfer call out to somebody and say that the planet awaits them. When we get back to the Baxter building, we see that the Silver Surfer knew he was being tracked and destroyed the sensor, and Sue and Reed talk about never being able to lead normal lives again because, well, I think you would know by now. Since Johnny was feeling weird after his run-in with the Surfer, Sue goes to check on him and their power switch, so Johnny can turn invisible and Sue can be on fire. Once that's resolved, it happens again but with Ben, so he loses his rocky exterior and replaces it with fire, while Johnny looks like he needs some Lubriderm extra strength. It's resolved, but Johnny has to isolate from the others just in case. Reed tells Sue that after everything is over, they can stop being superheroes and move away from the city life so that they can live a normal life, but Johnny overhears and takes it away. We then see a Von Doom helicopter in Greenland, which is strange because it sure seemed like he lost his company in the last movie, but I guess I missed something. Anyway, Doom talks to the Surfer and tries to join forces. The Surfer is just like, nah. Then Doom attacks him. The Surfer shrugs it off and looks like he disintegrates him at first, but he just gets teleported into a cave, but we see that his scars are healing. When we pick back up with the team, Johnny tells Ben that Reed and Sue want to leave the team. We find out that after the Surfer visits a planet 8 days later, all life on that planet is gone, and they figure out through some quick maths that the Silver Surfer is going to be in London. But for some reason they don't specify that it's London. I mean, yeah, they show off Big Ben and that giant Ferris wheel thing, but I would like some consistency here. While on the ride there, the team is super dysfunctional because of the whole team disbanding thing. Once in London, we get some heroic moments. Johnny is blamed for something that really wasn't his fault, and Reed kinda turns on him. After the failure in London, the military bring in Doom to help. Now this is where I think the movie really starts to fall apart, but I'll get to that later. After they beef for a minute or two, Doom explains they need to separate the Surfer from his board. Ben and Johnny have the closest thing to a heart-to-heart that they can have, and Reed figures out a possible solution to get the Surfer off his board. Once the machine is done, we pick up with the team in Germany. Hey, they brought the techs back. And Reed gets in his bag and tells the head military guy he's calling the shots or nothing's getting done. When it's time to get the plan going, the Surfer pops up on Sue and explains that he's not the one that's destroying the planet, and while Sue is doing a good job of getting some answers, of course the military thinks it's taking too long, so they shoot a rocket at Sue, Reed, and the Surfer like that was gonna help. The Surfer uses his board to eat the fucking rocket, and guess what the military decide to do? Shoot even more rockets, which is obviously gonna make the Surfer mad, and several people are undoubtedly killed just because of this. Once Sue finishes her part of the mission, the machine is done, activated, and the Surfer falls off his board. After that, they take him to Siberia for questioning, which does not seem to be on the up and up, but the US military in this movie kinda sucks so far, so makes sense. Anyway, the Surfer is being interrogated and tortured, and once the military decides to just take a break, Sue sneaks in to talk to the Surfer. Once there, we get the Galactus name drop that we've been waiting an hour for, and the Surfer shows Sue this nice home video on his washboard abs. The Surfer gets really cliche about why he serves Galactus, but I'm pretty sure it's the same reason as in the comics, so whatever I guess. But the part about him protecting Sue because she reminds him of the one he wants to protect is corny! We then cut to Galactus chewing through Saturn like it's nothing. Then we find out that Doom is a part of this mission because he wanted to do some experiments on the board, but duh, he's the bad guy from the first one. There's no way he was telling the truth, so he zaps these guys with his homemade lightning fingers, and he even made sure to bring his mask just for his supervillain scenes, and at least for the remaining 30 or so minutes of this movie, he gets the power of the Silver Surfer. Doom then goes to kill the head military guy. Good. The team go break out the Surfer and track down Doom in the Fantastic Car. It's a bad name, but at least it's on brand. Specifically the Dodge brand, because even superheroes gotta eat. They find Doom, fighting some mountains for a bit, end up fighting in China, Sue gets stabbed, and the giant space storm Galactus is here. Then Johnny gets the idea to take everyone's powers into himself, Super Skrull style, and gives Doom the hands to break his connection with the board. Sue straight up dies, but then the Surfer does something with his hands that causes her to come back to life. He flies up to Galactus and sacrifices himself to save Earth. Then the movie ends with an impromptu Chinese wedding that they definitely had on a green screen, and we see that the Silver Surfer is actually still alive. Alright, now that the story's out of the way, how was it? Well, first of all, it felt way longer than only an hour and a half, and part of that is because it feels like nothing is fucking happening during the movie until the last 30 minutes. The pacing is just awful. There's way too many scenes where either nothing happens or something happens, but much of the conversation is unnecessary. Like, we really don't need a scene of seeing the Silver Surfer call out to Galactus. We definitely didn't need so many scenes of Doom in Latveria doing nothing. The movie just feels all over the place. There's relationship drama, family drama, end of the world drama, and the issue is the movie kind of makes all of them feel equal because of how the characters react. There's also just unnecessary tension between characters, like with Doom and everyone, the Surfer and everyone, and the military just being jarheads. But let's get into some of the acting. Same as with the first movie, Chris Evans is great as Johnny, Michael Chiklis is fun as Ben. It actually seems like they gave Jessica Alba less to do in this movie than the first one. And Reed actually has some cool flashes of being a leader, but it never feels like they change throughout the movie. Sure, Johnny, I guess, becomes more aware of his actions, but that was kind of supposed to be his arc in the first one. Sue and Ben don't do anything or change, and Reed's confidence boost kind of comes out of nowhere. Even the ending sucks. Everyone who knows anything about comics and have seen this movie already knows what they did to Galactus was just fucking disrespectful, honestly. For those that don't know anything about Galactus, just know that he's this huge cosmic being that eats planets. The movie got that right, but he isn't a space cloud. He actually kind of has a personality and feeds on planets to keep the universe in order, along with some other stuff that doesn't really matter to the average person. Also, just FYI, there's absolutely no way that the Silver Surfer could kill Galactus by himself, but whatever. But even looking at it like I don't know shit about comics, there's no way you could look at a space cloud and think that, yep, this should be the big bad of the movie. Speaking of characters I love, they somehow made Doom even worse in this movie. Like, even if we just look at his character from the first movie and not bring comics into this, when did he fucking learn how to do all this tech stuff? He barely seems to act like he knows how to use a phone in the first movie, but now he can make this lightning wrist under Reed's nose, and it's like, yeah, I'm a tech expert too. What the fuck? If they had it where Doom was working alone in Latveria, where Reed worked in New York, and we see both of them struggle on their own and come up with their own solutions, then they both attack at the same time and it seems like Doom is on their side, would have been way better. And it would have worked with this character since he said that he hates the Force so much. The writers must have just taken whatever criticism they got from the first movie, went too far, and just started adding random stuff. Even though Julian McMahon did a good job, the character sucks. He's boring, his motivation isn't even in the fucking movie, and having him put the mask on during the scene where he seals the board plays like it was written by a kid who said, wouldn't it be cool if he put the mask back on? Like, the more that I think about it, most of the characters are just boring in this movie. Even Johnny and Ben get annoying near the end because they're the comic relief, but they only have 2 or 3 types of jokes, so you get tired of it really quick. Since this movie uses CGI way more than the first movie, everything aside from the Silver Surfer himself looks like garbage. Reed stretching everywhere looks like something out of Gary's Mod, and I get that it was 07 when this came out, but it just doesn't hold up like at all. I get that, hey, they wanted to do a bigger movie and maybe it looked good at the time, but the choices don't work today. It's actually really surprising how the first movie wasn't great, but it at least functioned as a movie. The sequel just threw all that out and made something that doesn't even feel like it was made by the same people. I could definitely see why the Fantastic Four have been on a hiatus for more than the past decade if this was the best they could do with it. Oh my god, they did make another one after this. Oh, Jesus Christ. But what did you think? Was the review fantastic or just a 4 out of 10? Yes, I did use the same joke twice because I don't care enough to make a better joke for such a trash movie. Let me know what I should review next, and thanks for watching.